Now, the annual UN Climate Change Conference, otherwise known as COP28, is kicking off at the Expo City in Dubai this morning. That's where a resounding call will be made to fast-track efforts to accelerate collective action. This gathering will take stock of progress in implementing the 2015 Paris Agreement as countries work to ensure that they limit global temperature increases to 1.5 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. Newzroom Afrika's Ziyanda Ngcobo is part of our team, live from Dubai this morning. And Ziyanda, geopolitics, of course, never too far from these type of gatherings, especially when you think about the Paris Agreement, and this notion that contributions from the global north and the global south are just not comparable when we think about just how far down the line we've gotten when it comes to climate change.
That's right, Ziyanda. We are coming to you live from Expo City, where, of course, just last year we brought you Expo 2020, and it's now been converted to Expo City, the venue for the COP28 conference that's taking place over the next 2 weeks. And as Newzroom Afrika will be bringing you all that coverage, and all of those 160 world leaders will have to discuss then the inequities of how then rich countries have been contributing towards then this climate change, which affects us all, Ziyanda, in comparison to the developing countries such as South Africa. I mean, if you just go as recently as last week and a week and a half ago with those hailstorms, I mean, those are the effects of climate change, the continued floods that we see in parts of the country, KwaZulu-Natal and Eastern Cape to be in particular, the wildfires in the Western Cape. We are not too far and not spared from the effects of climate change, Ziyanda. And so this conference is critical. In fact, the UN is dubbing this as a critical moment in the transformation and dealing with the issues of climate change. Briefly in November, Ziyanda, you've spoken about the 1.5 degrees Celsius. Briefly in November, CNN was reporting that we briefly breached 2 degrees Celsius, and they were quoting a NASA report. So the level of urgency and discussions that need to take place is quite high. And I must say that one of the key issues back home that we've been discussing is the issue of decarbonization, green energy, and of course, which would be linked to the decommissioning of coal power stations. And this is where, of course, in a province like Mpumalanga, such matters become critical. In fact, I want us to listen to what our colleague Mweli Masilela put together about this issue of coal power stations in Mpumalanga. Let's take a listen.
Life is tough for the fragile and young in Emalahleni due to air pollution caused by mining houses as well as power stations in Mpumalanga. Bali Matebula, who resides in Fosman, just outside Emalahleni city center, says her 9-year-old daughter has been suffering from chronic asthma for 5 years. She says her daughter's medical practitioner informed her that the child's health condition might be caused by dirty air of Emalahleni.
Sometimes I can't sleep because of her, and now she's using a nebulizer. So there is a load shedding sometimes, so I must go to hospital sometimes. Her life is not good because of this air pollution. She can stay maybe 2 weeks fine, but a week next she's going to be sick. She's not a normal child.
Matebula says mining companies operating in their area hardly help when cold.
We are living near the mines, so we have many mines, but they don't assist us with anything. They don't even come here and check whether people are happy or what. They don't care. So there are many people who are sick because of this mine. So we as parents, we must make a plan for our children to go to hospital.
A sentiment shared by Ntombi Maphosa, an attorney at the Center for Environmental Rights. She's been working with a number of climate change activists for over a year now to try and get justice for affected community members such as Mbali Matebula.
We got different experts to look at this issue, different health experts, and most of the issues relate to respiratory illnesses, so chronic asthma, pulmonary disease, and so on. But much of the impact is felt especially on vulnerable people, so children and the elderly people and people that already have coexisting diseases. So that is like most of the issue, and it's compounded also by the fact that the clinics and public health care facilities are not really equipped to be able to deal with the issues. So it all, creates sort of this crisis for people that have to live in this area.
Some non-profit organizations in Emalahleni and surrounding areas are now calling for a shift from coal-fired power generation to renewable energy and urging residents to stand up for their rights.
We want to know them to know that what action they can take to the polluters. Because of what we believe is people, they say lung cancers or other diseases. It's something like family diseases, but we don't believe in that. We say it's something that is impacted from the industries.
As much as many people concur that the issue of air pollution should be dealt with, moving from coal to renewable energy has proven to be disastrous for many community members. Many have lost their jobs and businesses after the decommissioning of Komati Power Station in October last year.
Simoshakele kakhulu ngoba thina besisebenza ngoboya lapha besivala loboya ele amapipe ukuthi angashisi so besivala wona ngaloboya and then bese senze sheet metal umsebenzi wethu bekuyi sheet metal so kwaphela ke lokho umsebenzi thena kuphela kwathi unama job azoba khona till manje ayikho into engathi kuyacaca.
Kusithikameze kakhulu ukuvala kwe-power station ngoba siyintsha la eKomati. Imisebenzi kahle siyayidinga kakhulu. Uma singasebenzi impilo inzima kakhulu ngoba siphila nge-350. I-350 ayikhona ukuthi isenzele izidingo zethu, ayikhona ukuthi sikhona ukuthi sibhadale ama-rent la sihlala khona sithenge nokudla.
Kusiphathe kabi kakhulu baba ukuvala kwe-power station ngoba njengathi nje emzileni emkhakheni wamatekisi besikhona nokusebenza ukuthi sikhona ukulayisha abantu sithola nomsebenzi itafu kumele kuvala nje power station vele hawo.
Those advocating for a pollution-free world are hoping that representatives of different countries who will be gathering in Dubai for COP28 will come up with concrete plans to deal with issues of climate change, while those relying on coal mining activities are hoping that resolutions taken will not affect their jobs and businesses. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Moeli Masilela, Emalahleni in Mpumalanga.
All right, so those are the effects, rather, of decommissioning of power stations back home. Of course, it's the balancing act between green energy and meeting those emission targets as assigned from that 2015 Paris Agreement, which South Africa is a signatory to, and whilst also ensuring that there's job stability and creation. Tomorrow, then, the world leaders will be meeting, including our very own President Cyril Ramaphosa. He'll be leaving South Africa today, bound for that discussion amongst world leaders on the 1st of December to last as well, right through to the 2nd of December. So plenty of discussions. The National Business Initiative, which brings business leaders together from South Africa, is also here, and we'll be catching up with them throughout the day.
And we'll be keeping up with you throughout that entire process. That's our Ziyanda Ngcobo live to us there from Dubai.